Hey, everybody. Welcome here to Pop Culture Philosophers. Welcome, in fact, to PCP Movie Night. Welcome more so, in fact, to the launch of week 2 of March Madness 2026. This is the month where we, in conjunction with other YouTube cinema channels, talk about the madness of cinema. And tonight, here on Pop Culture Philosophers, we're talking about 1980s Fade to Black. There is my Vinegar Syndrome Blu-ray with the slip. There's the other cover right there. Great stuff. Fade to Black is a movie that we covered on Dylan's Horror Show like 2 or 3 years ago. Had a great conversation, but I wanted to make sure that we covered this movie, which is a particular favorite of mine here on my channel. And what better opportunity than March Madness. So we got a lot of first-time viewings tonight, including from my man Jelani. What's up, homie? Welcome to the Madhouse.
Station. Good to be here. Yeah, this is my first time seeing this movie, and I have some words to say about it. And some of them will be good, some of them will be, we will see what happens there. But I am very glad to be here with you guys to talk about it.
Heck yeah. Well, I'm very happy to have you here to talk about this movie, including one of the homies who has joined us for the first time for March Madness this year over at Heroes for Hire Comic Club. Last Wednesday, he talked about American Psycho. This upcoming Wednesday, he's talking about The Serpent and the Rainbow. We've had him here on the channel before. Let's bring him back. It's our homie, Matt from Heroes for Hire Comic Club. What's up, man?
Hello, my friends. First time watching it. I really enjoyed it, and I'll probably watch it again. I think it was really great, and appreciate you having me back.
Heck yeah. Well, thank you for joining us. Another first-time watch is our homie Brooks. What's up, homie?
Oh.
Brooks?
Like the first thing I thought too was a Metallica song, like Jelani mentioned it earlier, but like, oh, that's the song, and that's the song that James Hetfield almost got burned to death.
Yes,
if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
I'm glad Jelani understood that because I did not, Brooks. But I'm happy to have you here on the channel. I really am.
Yeah.
You're kind of cutting in and out for me. Let's go ahead and bring in the only other person aside from me who's seen this movie before we started, before we watched it to chat about it is Joe Corallo. What's up, Joe? How you doing?
Hey, I'm good. I'm just I can't believe this isn't a full panel. Like this is an important movie to the genre. Like we'll get into it more when we go into our overall thoughts before we get into the rest of it. All of you listening or watching probably know the order of events at this point, so I don't have to tell you.
That's right. All right. Was Joe cutting out for anybody else, or is it just me? Is it just me?
Just you.
It's coming
It's
fine
just
on
me.
my end.
All right. Well, apparently I'm having some internet issues. We'll see what happens. Yo, am I coming through clear?
Yeah, you sound great.
Perfectly.
All right.
Hear you
Well,
perfectly.
You sound great. Look great.
Nice. Well, let's talk about 1980s Fade to Black. This is a movie that was written and directed by Vernon Zimmerman. He's done other things. This is what he's mostly known for, so we shouldn't really dive too deep into his career. But this is a movie that me personally, I really like. I think it's tragic and haunting, and it's a character study, obviously, that works both as a love letter and a warning to those of us who love cinema, right? Like, I appreciate that about the movie. So being a fan of horror films, being a fan of horror cinema, and discussing these things, this is a movie that really kind of lends itself to me, right? Because it's about a dude who loves movies, but maybe he takes his love of movies too far because the other aspects of his life are very much unfulfilled, right? I think it's got some weird stretches, but overall, I would say I find it compelling, provocative, and memorable, right? 100%. Jelani, I think we're getting bleed through on your channel. Anyway, I really like this film. My history with it is interesting because I never remembered this film at all. Like during any of my like high school or early 20s or throughout my 20s when I was rediscovering cinema or watching it along with my friends like Jelani, like Brooks, like other friends of ours, like James or Kevin, where we would get together and go rent these movies, right? Abe Sarvastani, Station Abe, right?
Oh,
But
Station 8. Where are you?
Force of Darkness came out. I watched the clip from that documentary, which is a great documentary about 80s horror movies. They did 3 of them, and now they're on their second one of the 90s. But they did a bit in the first one about Fade to Black. And as soon as I saw the clip of the dude putting on his half Dracula, half regular ass face makeup and like doing that thing in the mirror, it brought back a memory, right? It unlocked a memory from when I was young, remembering that scene in particular. And I remember talking to Dylan about it, and we realized at the time Vinegar Syndrome had just done this release. So we both went out and bought it, and I watched the movie, and I was like, holy crap. Not only have I seen this movie, it has unlocked something within me that I think this movie might be one of those first films I saw that made me really want to love or check out the Universal monster movies. I may have seen this movie before I ever saw Dracula or The Mummy or anything like that. This might be my first kind of understanding of those characters as cinematic icons, if that makes sense. So it opened up something that was very interesting. Since then, I have dived deep into this movie multiple times. I've talked about it on Rockin' Robbie Live. We've talked about it on Dylan's Horror Show. And now we are finally talking about it on PCP Movie Night, appropriately so for March Madness, because this is a movie about a young man's descent into madness through isolation, through loneliness, and through obsession. Jelani, first time watch for you. What do you think about the film?
It's got me mixed again. I'm in another mixed field. Now, not to say anything bad about it. It's a good film. It's got its moments. It's good points. I love the makeup. I love the entire. Robbie's gone. He'll be back. But it is what it is. But
Yeah.
I like this film just because the makeup is done so well. I like some of the characters. They do work well. But then the music is fantastic. And Robbie's back.
Yay.
But it's a fine movie. It's okay. But then there are leaps to logic in this film I do not understand. I didn't have enough time to watch this a second time. But they're like, how in the absolute hell do they know that it's this kid? Like, how do they know that his boss died because he wore a mummy outfit and scared him? How did they jump to that logic? How do they know that the prostitute died because he chased her in a Dracula costume? Nobody says anything about these things. And now the only way that I would have put it to where it was him was when he was the gangster and walked into the salon. But even then, there's nobody there. Like, this is like 1980. Nobody's there. It's like, I know who that is. It's that Bedford kid.
The idea, I guess, is that psychological guy, the psychologist, Dr. Moriarty, has an interview with him and the other guy after Ricky dies or whatever. And it starts like putting it in his head that he starts, because of the psychological aspects, he's able to figure out who the killer is, even though he does nothing else right in the entire film.
He doesn't do anything right. Like, he should be dead, like, on a lot of different levels. Like,
Chad is right there. It's cocaine. Cocaine gives you clairvoyant abilities.
Also,
cocaine.
Also, if they'd been equipped with Google in 1980, they could have figured it out a long time ago in this movie.
Long time ago. And the answer to the Casablanca question is Richard Blaine. His name was Richard Blaine, and they don't even answer that question in the movie. Even when he shoots Mickey Rourke, he doesn't explain that part. There's just little things, leaps in logic that are in this movie that I'm like, you need to answer that. If you're gonna have a gun, you gotta shoot it. It's crazy. And this guy is what we used to call in the 90s a geek monster. Geek monsters are defined as people who take the love of what they're doing too far. And that's what he is in this level. Of course, he's got some kind of mental issues and stuff going on, and his aunt's his mom, and Bob's your uncle. It's so many leaps to logic in this movie that just make me go like, what the crap? So I need to watch it again. But I'm still mixed on this film. Like I said, the music's great. The costumes are great for this kid. We'll get into characters, but I won't even mention my character. But I love this particular character in this film. There's just so many things that they could clean up in this movie. Like there's a way to make this movie a lot cleaner and make a lot more sense and be a lot more coherent than what it is from what I saw from my first viewing. So as a critic, I'm gonna look at it in that eye. It's an enjoyable film, don't get me wrong, but it's got a lot of leaps to logic that I still got to work with. And I'm drinking a hazy snake. So there, from the good people. So have a good
nice.
one.
All right. Very, very much fair. I think that's very fair, especially from a first time watch. What about you, Matt? First time watch for you, which surprises me because you were about 49 years old when this movie released.
Oh yeah. Well, I must admit that I was watching it too, but it came out in 1980, so I was probably busy watching Flash Gordon. I was the acting coach on that film. That's how old I am. But I'm just kidding. Well, I don't know how it's missed, but I've heard of it. Like I've heard Eli Roth talk about it. I've heard other filmmakers talk about it. It didn't have a big impact on me because I didn't know about it. But I'll tell you what, watching it, I'm a big fan of like old movies. When I mean old movies, I don't mean made in the 1980s. I mean made in the 1940s and 30s. And there's like a great homage to that in here. Like, he dresses up like Richard Widmark in Kiss of Death, which is, I think is great. And then the Hopalong Cassidy thing was interesting because I like to take notes. And I looked up a little research, and William Boyd, who played Hopalong Cassidy, his estate sued this movie.
Yep.
Because they said they showed his character with contempt and ridicule. I didn't find out if they actually won it, but the suit. But anyway, it kind of gave him a little trouble. Also, when we get to cast, there's some interesting trivia about this cast. But also, like I found out this movie is big in France. That I said that kind of makes sense. But I love how he dresses like Dracula and the Mummy and all these characters. It's just amazing. And I'm not speaking about the cast, but I was surprised to see Mickey Rourke in this movie. But
his second role, actually, his second film role.
And like honestly, the only time he really kills somebody is like the first time he ever kills somebody is actually him, because spoiler alert, because he just chases the hooker until she falls into that thing. Well, he pushes his aunt down, his aunt/mom. But like a lot of it's like this, I don't know, like the guy has a heart attack. I don't know. It's kind of, it's supposed to be, you know what? You can't take this movie too seriously because it only took me about 20 minutes to realize, oh, this is like a black comedy. So that's the way I looked at it then on. Like, it was not trying to take itself too seriously. Like Jelani said, there are some like plot holes you kind of have to wrap your mind around. But you know what? That's kind of par for the course sometimes when you're watching a slasher movie. But it was interesting to see that we actually had Universal monsters in a slasher movie. So I thought that was interesting. And Robbie, I have to agree with that one scene where he's got like half the makeup on one side and half on the other. I was like, wow. I kind of wonder if Roddy Piper was like watching that movie when he decided to have the genius idea of painting half his face black when he fought Bad News Brown. But fun fact about that, though, like we said last week, he couldn't get it to come off after he put that makeup on. So I don't know about this movie like that, though. But I don't know if that's actually appropriate to do even back then, but he did it. But
let's just say the intent I understand the intent behind that. You know?
Yeah, it's like,
Like-
whoa, Roddy, what are you doing, dude? But
Let's just say he
like
was referencing that episode of Star Trek with Frank Gorshin. I would feel better about it. Okay.
yeah, maybe he should have painted it the other side blue or something. It might not have been like as a piece. I don't know.
Yeah.
But, you
yeah.
know,
Maybe.
The WWF of the '80s was the Wild West. This is you know,
Yes, it
but,
was.
Absolutely,
yeah,
man.
but I like it. I really
yeah.
enjoyed it. Like as a movie buff, how can you not enjoy this movie in some way?
Yeah, it's a movie made for cinephiles, and it's also a movie made to be like, cinephiles, watch the fuck out, because y'all are crazy, and
Be
like,
careful.
yeah, be careful if you run into somebody who looks like your favorite movie star. What about you, Brooks? First time watch. So when we covered these movies, like, I think this fits along with a lot of movies actually that we're about to cover here on PCP Movie Night for March Madness, that are psychological character studies on serial killers. We're about to do 3 back-to-back, right? Tonight, we're talking about Fade to Black. Next week, Martin by George A. Romero. The week after that, Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer. These are 3 movies that I adore, that when we covered them on Dylan's Horror Show, a lot of the panel couldn't get behind the idea of trying to understand or feel bad in any way or form the mind and motivations of a serial killer, right? I don't know, but it feels to me, Brooks, like maybe this might not be your kind of movie, but I'm hoping that I'm very much surprised here. What do you think, Brooks, about the film overall?
Like, I think this movie's all right. I'm kind of with Delaney on that. Like, you know, there are a lot of things I do like about it, but it also feels a bit formulaic in a sense too. But I like the twist they put on it with, you know, him, like, you know, with it'll cut to like the old movie clips and stuff, and like, you know, the fact that he dresses up as different like Universal monsters and stuff to do his killing. Like, it does a lot of things really good, and I think it's shot well. But you know, for me, and you know, I've been watching so many bangers lately. Like, you know, I watched 12 Monkeys. I've just been watching all these great movies. So this one felt a little less good than those ones. But still, like, I did enjoy it though. I'm glad I watched it.
Okay. All right. Glad you watched it. I will take that. Joe, you've seen this movie. You're the only other person on the panel outside of myself who has seen this movie. So what do you think about it? What's your history with it?
So, you know, I didn't discover this movie until maybe like 5 or 6 years ago or so. I think it was like during lockdown, you know, and it was on YouTube. It was perfect. I was able to just, you know, watch it that way. And, you know, it really stuck out. It was one of those movies I was upset I hadn't heard about before because it seems very important. You know, and I mean, I looked into it after that too. And again, like what's already been mentioned, like, wow, Mickey Rourke and like some of these other things in it. But it's so far ahead of its time. Like you could remake this movie today and drop it and people would be like, oh wow, they're making a movie about fandom and what fandom's like today. And not really change anything outside of just like making it present day and what that would involve. Like it was very prophetic in that sort of way. And this was a very successful movie at the box office. It had like a 1.8 million budget and made 15 million, like for an R-rated movie. Like that is a very, in 1980, that is a really successful horror movie. Yeah.
Mostly in France, I believe.
Yeah.
Actually, I think it did most of its profit in France. It was very much well respected there. Yeah,
yeah, but that's not a thing that happens typically where movies like that do as well. It is, you know, comparable to the first Scream in terms of like their budget was closer to like 17 million. It made like 170 or 80 million, like in that area. So comparable profit percentage.
Oh shit!
And
also, being a movie aware of horror movies.
Yeah.
Comparable to Scream, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. You do not have Scream without Fade to Black. And, there's absolutely no fucking way Wes Craven didn't see Fade to Black. Absolutely no fucking way. So, and there's,
I kind of wonder if Mark Scorsese had seen this film, because I don't know if you all have seen King of Comedy, where De Niro's Rupert Pupkin, or what's his name? He's kind of takes his obsession with TV and comedy too far, just like this guy does with movies.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying it's an amazing movie, but Joaquin Phoenix's Joker, like things like that, like these sort of movies, it's really that there are some examples of movies that have these people falling apart like that beforehand, like Taxi Driver, etc. But this was way ahead of its time. The ant twist is before the ant twist in Psycho 2. There's a lot of little things like that throughout, and I'll get more into it later on as we're getting into the categories, but overall it's an important slasher movie, or horror thriller and whatever.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's a few different commentaries on this Vinegar Syndrome Blu-ray. One of them was from a couple of film critics or film experts or whatever. And that's the one that I listened to for over the course of the last week. And one of the questions they propose in that commentary is this a slasher movie? And they're like, well, he is, but it's interesting because it's the two different slashers that were prevalent in 1980, the masked slasher and the unmasked slasher. And it's doing both, because sometimes he's masked and sometimes he's not. And it almost depends on, for instance, just to break this down real quick, when he kills Mickey Rourke's character, he's masked, right? To look like Hopalong Cassidy. When he kills the movie producer who stole his idea, he's not, because he never wanted a character like Mickey Rourke to really see him or notice him. But a character like the film producer, he wanted to be seen, right? And that's an interesting kind of thing to even look at, psychologically, thematically speaking, when he's wearing a mask versus when he's not. He's wearing a mask when he kills his boss at the film, archive or whatever, but he's not wearing a mask when he, you get what I'm saying? Even though makeup could be a mask, whatever. We're moving on. Anyway, this movie, I think, has a lot to unpack, and I think it's got some really great performances. There's the obvious one. I could go first and take it from y'all. I'm too nice, but what I will do is go in reverse order, because typically Jelani goes first, Brooks and Joe have to go last. So Joe, tell me a performance you want to highlight in this film.
You know what? I want to highlight the aunt. What was her name? Eva. The actress name, Eva Grant. Eve Brent. Yeah, because and she was, a starlet in 40s movies, things like that. I think she was in some of the Tarzan movies, like stuff like that. And she is really sort of challenged. One of the bits I get from this movie, and what I think she does really well, is she captures that, was it the performance from, was it Sunset Boulevard, that Gloria Swanson, she's really this devastating villainous kind of character who was screwed over by Hollywood, and it's she's Gloria Swanson from Sunset Boulevard in a wheelchair. That's her character, and it's really incredible. And she's not in the movie a ton, but there's the whole reveal with the her being the mother later on, I got little psycho bits too, but that are more subtle, of him talking to the urn later. And their sort of relationship. I know generational trauma in horror movies was invented by A24, 10 or so years ago. But
because it's elevated.
Yeah, but so despite the fact that this can't possibly be elevated horror, this is a movie about generational trauma where she represents old like Hollywood and this and she's carrying this sort of abuse to her son and blaming her son for how Hollywood ruined her and ultimately causes Hollywood to ruin him, but just from a different part of it. And she really sells that. She's and it is complicated. There is this bit where she's really fucking with them, and when she smacks over the projector, that is the turning point for his character. And it's the literal turning point is when the projector fades to black.
Yep.
And that is when that's the point of no return, and that's when he becomes this killer. And she sets it up.
Of no return. I'm sorry, I thought you were finished.
No, good. No, and just gonna finish it with and then she's she says she's sorry, and then she's like, I'm sorry. It really is a well acted and put together scene, and they really play well off each other. I know people that have that dynamic with a parent or grandparent or something that's abusive, sort of they're really awful to each other, but they'll also apologize and they'll feel that, and they really, I think, pull this off in that movie, and she's a big part of it, so that's why I'm thinking of her.
They really do, and Fable, I'm right there with you. I don't know. I mean, there is the very strong connotation, or there's a very strong idea, right? That there's something more going on there. Is it the foot rub or the back rub, whatever it is?
Yeah,
but it's a little weird.
It's a back rub. It is.
Yeah,
weird.
and it's just
she wanted
just
more than
the way he responds to that. But dude, what you were talking about with how it reflects the story of Hollywood and shit, dude, this movie does that way better than the Scream 3, right? Which is trying to do the same thing. It does a way better Scream 3, which, by the way, I can go ahead and officially say Scream 3 is no longer the worst Scream movie. So we can thank 2026 for that. Brooks, what about you, though? What's a performance you want to highlight in Fade to Black?
I can't remember her name, but the lady cop, the ponytail. I call her Officer Ponytail. That's just what I think of her.
Officer Ponytail.
Yeah, but she's because there's kind of two threads.
Gwen Guilford as Officer Anne Ocean Bull.
Ocean Bull. God
yeah, but
damn.
what's really funny is that actress is the mother of Chris Pine, and not only that, she was pregnant with Chris Pine while filming this movie. So it might be Chris Pine's first film appearance.
I'm older than Chris Pine.
Crazy.
I did not know that.
But, yeah, there's kind of two threads in this movie. There's the story, of course, the killer, who becomes kind of a killer, but and then there's the guidance counselor, police guidance counselor, or whatever the fuck he's supposed to be, guy's story.
The police guidance counselor.
Yeah. I thought he was a cop. The first time I was watching it, I'm like, why does this guy keep treating this guy like he's not another cop? And then
that's basically what it is.
Cop. He's just a
What is he? He's
guy.
A criminal psychologist, right? That's what he is. He's Jodie Foster in Silence of the Lambs, but he just does cocaine and plays the harmonica.
He's kind of like the blonde-headed lady in Lethal Weapon, the one that is the counselor for all that Mel Gibson always tortures in Lethal Weapon.
Yes.
Yeah, it's like she's caught between these two idiots that are fucking just bickering at each other for no good reason. You got the grouchy veteran cop, and then you got this psychiatrist guy who's I guess supposed to work with the cops, but he's always bitching about him, and he's not so bad, but then the dude will just be a dick to him, and she's just kind of she's kind of stuck between these two warring personalities. And she's hot.
Never
pretty hot.
She's hot. I like that, man. I like that. I appreciate that. Hell yeah. What about you, Matt? What's a performance you want to highlight?
I want to highlight this guy because he's the most incompetent doctor I've ever seen in my life. Dr. Moriarty. That name does not pass me up because that's not too far off from Professor Moriarty, Sherlock Holmes. But I don't know. The reason because when I saw him, I said, "Oh shit, it's Tim Thomerson." He was Colonel Ted Masters in Iron Eagle, and he was also in a movie with Gene Hackman called Uncommon Valor. But I always remember he's the Iron Eagle dad. So I'll always give him props for that.
Yep.
But like, there's a couple times
He's also all up in Trancers. He's all over Full Moon, right? Yeah.
And Near Dark. He's in Near Dark too. He plays.
Yeah, he's the dad in Near Dark. He's the guy who can. He's the horse doctor who can discover the cures for vampirism.
Hey, I'm here for it, man. Old country Oklahoma horse doctor learns how to cure vampirism. But
that's my favorite movie with the worst ending, man. Is Near Dark, dude. I fucking love that movie, but I think that's the dumbest fucking ending.
I got a hot take on that one. I think I like it more than Lost Boys.
Ooh, yeah, that's a conversation right there, man.
Okay.
But mainly because of Bill Paxton is amazing in it. But let's not talk about
same year too, man. Same year, 87, dude. Yeah.
Like I was like, I mean, he's not good at his job, but they, let's give him a break because they were crapping on him the whole time. Like, hey, you're going to work down here in like the old drunk tank, right? So they just put him down there, and I think it's funny because if I recall, she walks in on him, and he's doing blow.
Yep. Twice.
So, I don't know. Twice.
Well, he's also playing a mean harmonica, which we know makes the panties drop, right? So there
That's
you
right.
go.
The only thing
I mean, who hasn't used
the
that
only
trick?
thing that would make them drop faster would be if you were the saxophone guy in Lost Boys.
Mm-mm.
See what I did there?
Come on,
All right.
Delaney. Shake them hips,
That's
Delaney.
right.
I'm like, okay, he's like, he's gonna put this together, and I'm like, he's
Hell
like,
yeah.
But like, I like the dynamic between him and the old grizzled cop that they were talking about earlier because he's just like, it's just such a cliche of movies with police detectives. Like, there's the one that's like, get out of my way. I don't want you helping me with this case. I'm getting too old for this crap.
Yeah.
And,
And
like,
what's great is
really,
also with the police story, like Brooks was kind of talking about, there's like that guy, right? The Moriarty guy, and then there's the hard ass guy, and it's kind of like a conservative and a liberal, like their ideas about law enforcement back in the late 70s, early 80s in America in particular, and kind of how that's playing, right? It's like Phil Donahoe showing up with the captain of Murtaugh and what was Mel Gibson's character's name? I can't remember. Anyway,
Riggs. Detective
Riggs,
Riggs.
right? Yeah, Riggs. So great highlight right there.
And one last thing I was going to talk about his doctoring skills or whatever he is. I don't know where he got his doctorate degree at. He must have got it at Arizona State. But that's kind of
he got it from Skillshare. By the way, go check out Skillshare.
What's it, Arizona? What's it, Phoenix.com or whatever? He must have got it from like one of those schools, but or the DeVry Institute. But anyway, the one part that really gets me about him though, he's like, "Don't hurt him! Don't hurt him! He's just sick." I'm like, "He's done killed 5 people. Don't hurt him! What?"
He's beyond sick.
So like, I mean, he's kind of like the hippie teacher in Beavis and Butthead, It's like, okay, class, let's, he's like, he's supposed to give everybody. He's like, what do you want him to do? This guy's killed 5 people. We're supposed to like give him a juice box and a Pop-Tart and tell him to calm down. I just don't get it. But I just liked it. I just thought it was funny. But like it's also like Robbie said, it's almost like a far left guy and a far right guy arguing over how we should do police work or whatever, So
yeah, I like it. It's a little bit like Crossfire, if anybody remembers that show. What about you, Delaney? What's a performance you want to highlight?
I'm surprised nobody picked the main guy. I'm not even picking him because it wasn't my character. My favorite character in this movie, and I'm glad no one picked him. It is Marilyn O'Connor. Marilyn O'Connor is by far the best character in this film. Why? A, she's devastatingly beautiful. B, she looks just like Marilyn Monroe. like in a lot of different levels and a lot of different lights. They shoot her excellently. She's
gorgeous. Like Marilyn Monroe meets Debbie Harry, and that's to me like the perfect. Like there's something about
like a good meld of the two. It does
it's like
work
a punk
out.
rock Marilyn Monroe, like a Southern Californian punk rock. That Australian accent, dude. I don't know. It kills me, man.
Yeah, something.
And she's wearing those red stockings, and I'm like, you go, girl. Wearing those red stockings on a scooter. You fucking go. I love it.
the fact she wanted to go with this geek monster like on his Vespa and ride around, the fact she was that cool, she was just so cool. And I hate that she went through the trauma that she went through with this guy, even though she is the reason I pick her is she is the true catalyst of this guy losing his shit, because she is the one that accidentally just misses the date, and she misses the date not because she wanted to, because she really liked the guy.
She got distracted by that asshole from fucking 30 something.
Right? Yeah, that was the guy from 30 something. It was. And I hate that's the only thing I really remember him from. But it is. Isn't
he in Children of the Corn? Like the one Linda Hamilton? Isn't he in that one?
I try to skip that movie.
That's a good movie, man. The original. That's a good movie, man.
Hey, Jelani, don't you feel also though? I feel bad for her because she's a fun girl, but I doubt she's going to be a very fun person after the experience she had in this movie.
That's what I'm saying. She's totally ruined. But like, I loved the way that she's portrayed in this film. She's just she's not even an actress. She's just a lookalike model, and she just does film shoots and things. Her friend is a piece of shit, by the way. Her friend it looks like everything's fine. I'm just gonna leave you here. Like, bruh.
It was 1980, man. It was a different time. Nobody locked their doors. They left their windows open. It was different.
You don't leave your friend in the middle of the night at a random photo shoot.
No shit. In LA? In LA? You know what I'm saying?
And she could have at least met the guy before she left her there.
You don't do that shit. It's just so many levels to not doing that shit.
The plot needed that to happen, right? They were like, we got to end this movie. we can't spend 10 minutes of them convincing the girl to let her friend hang out, right?
Yeah, it's one of these things where she unintentionally created a monster. Like he was already on the edge, and I think he would have already snapped on something that she would have done or something if they'd gone on a date and actually been together. He was a time bomb willing to bust.
You're right, dude. And that timer was set before he even met her, dude. Right? Yeah.
Before he met her. So, but what it was I believe besides the mom, besides all the shit they was getting his job, you know what I'm saying? All the people that were screwing with him, he thought he had hope. He saw her as Marilyn Monroe. I love how it cuts to he sees her and he can't stop staring at her, and it goes to that like hazy version where it looks like it's Marilyn Monroe. I love that shot. Something about it is just amazing, and I just like how she's portrayed. I wish she had done more movies, because she has the face for it, and I think she could have worked really well. I really loved her character. I hate she went through this experience, so for her to be like, I'm pretty sure it like freaked her out. That character, I'm saying, not her. Just saying that character was just freaking ruined over this entire situation. And he kept giving her like random pills. I don't know what the hell those pills. The first pill was to drug her, I guess. The second pill was to wake her up. The third pill, I don't know about that.
I almost think he was trying to recreate the tragedy of Marilyn Monroe with an overdose.
Yeah,
what I think
he was trying to overkill her.
Yeah, also the moment he gets pushed over the edge, and she stands him up like kind of an accident. But it pushed over the edge. It kind of reminds me of Taxi Driver, because Sybil Shepherd's character in that movie is what pushes Travis Bickle over the edge and decide he's going to assassinate somebody. So,
right.
Well, what's crazy is you were talking about maybe Scorsese, maybe he saw this movie and had an influence for King of Comedy. You telling me that Zimmerman didn't have an influence from Taxi Driver? You know what I'm saying?
I guarantee he did.
And that's the beautiful thing about cinema. It's a beautiful thing about cinema, about music, any form of art. Art inspires art. and that's what we do, right? Y'all have picked some really great characters. First and foremost, I want to give a highlight to Mickey Rourke, right? His second film role as Richie in this movie. I like him because he's playing a douchebag, but there's that bit where he's at the carnival and he's walking by and there's that like fucking like super squarish looking dude that walks by and he's like, hey man, where's all the pussy at? Or something like that, right? And the dude says something. That was just a guy walking across their set, not an extra or anything like that. That was Mickey Rourke in the moment, creating that moment. And that's funny as shit to me, knowing Mickey Rourke in his entire career, that even in his second film, he was like, he was trying to juice things up. But Dennis Christopher as Eric Binford, y'all, what an amazing performance. Most people will mostly remember him from It, right? The John Ritter, Tim Curry, It from like ABC or whatever the hell it was, early 90s. He plays what? Stuttering Stanley. He plays he plays that character.
He also gets shot by Jamie Foxx in Django Unchained.
Yes, he does. Yes. He's in a lot of great movies. He's in Chariots of Fire. In fact, the movies he did before and after this were both nominated for Best Picture. Think about that. Isn't that crazy? What a career. It's all up from here now, man. John Hughes is going to call me any day, Ma. Right? But anyway, I really like him in this movie. Really solid. Let's talk about the style and structure. I love the style. It's gritty. It's dirty. It's got that dirty, dark aesthetic that we get in late 70s, early 80s movies. I talk about this a lot. So what makes the first couple of Friday the 13th movies, hell, the first 3 Friday the 13th movies feel a certain way. They're kind of that same aesthetic as like Texas Chainsaw Massacre, right? Ever since we had Texas Chainsaw Massacre, 70s horror in America kind of has this gritty, dirty thing. It's what Rob Zombie has made an entire career out of. So I love that. And I love that it's got this great spotlight of Los Angeles at a certain time, right? So it's about a dude who loves film, but he lives in Los Angeles. He works in Los Angeles. The film love is prevalent throughout the film, but the movie showcases LA. And that's something I really love is the big cities, LA, Chicago, New York, those big cities in America, seeing those spotlighted at different times in American history and throughout the 20th century really cracks me up and just really like gets me going. Then we got Eric's costumes. I love them. I think they're great. All of them, every single one of them. For structure, I love the blending of the psychological study and the slasher. I do think that the cop and doctor kind of stuff, the Moriarty and the cops and all this kind of stuff, it shows up and it's like super comedic. And I think it's meant to be kind of satirical or tongue-in-cheek, but it kind of throws off and imbalances the tone for me. And but I do think it's really great at being and feeling uncomfortable. That's what I think. What do you think about style and structure, Jelani?
Structure is, I mean, it's fine. It's a shorter movie, so I don't really have any problems with it being short and sweet, getting to the point. It is that era's LA, so you get the Chinese Man's Theater. You get, you know, the way the aesthetic of LA is in the 80s. It works very well. I like that. I am not a fan of, like I said, some of the pacing. Some of it's really slow at the beginning. I mean, it tells what it's going to tell at the beginning, but it's still kind of get to the meat and potatoes. And then once we start getting into his psychosis and his outfits and his madness, and it goes into that, it's full throttle. So it's slow to me at the beginning, and I like that it's set up slow burn, but then all of it is at the end where it goes through that part. Plus, fucking LAPD shooting first. Oh yeah, by the way, fuck, fuckity fuck the police. I can't stand them. Waste my time and effort. They shoot first, and it's stupid when he's got a hostage and you don't do that. And he has a hostage, and you don't know what he's doing with the hostage, and they don't go into the building behind him. They know where he is on the freaking roof. Be up there on the roof. Don't just be at the bottom. Oh my God, there. That's dumb as shit. I hate LA cops. I hate cops in general, but LA cops are the worst. Stylishly, yes, that guy knew how to dress. It is impressive how his makeup is for Dracula, especially.
This motherfucker had a Tommy gun, man. He had a Tommy gun. Like what? What?
He found a Tommy gun and started to shoot. That's the other thing. Like I said, there's another escaping logic. How to get the car and the Tommy gun, but I think they got that from the
inheritance.
From his mom. Yeah, from his mom. So he had money and he bought a car, but it's a 1920s fucking jalopy. And he got a Tommy gun and he got all these costumes and makeup to do this. So it's so impressive that each one, the mummy is the most impressive because he had time to dress up like a mummy, go back to his job, scare his boss into a heart attack. I thought that was crazy. And I'm still going back to this because it still pisses me off. How in the hell did they know that it was him in the makeup, in the costumes? No one saw him do these things. The security guard didn't stay and watch him be like, oh, the mummy in here. Nobody saw him.
There's all kinds of little plot holes like that. Like, how does he know where this movie producer gets his haircut on a certain day?
How do you know that? Like, yeah. How does he know where where Marilyn stays?
It almost makes you go, how much of this might be in his head?
Yeah. It's so much of it that makes no sense. And it's top of the world mob bullshit. And I'm like, bruh, it's just too many leaps in logic. It's too much stuff going on. But at the same time, he looked great while he was doing it. I love the gunslinger. I loved all of his characters. All of the characters that he actually put on, so impressive. I was very impressed by that. So, yeah, that's it. I mean, it's pretty decent. It's pretty decent in that aspect. But the movie is too slow at the beginning and then explodes towards the end. And it's jarring to me.
All right. All right. Speaking of slow at the beginning and then just explodes at the end, Matt, what do you think about the style and structure of this film?
I kind of want to talk about what you talked about a little bit with the style, because there's a certain era of Los Angeles. You kind of see like a little bit of the seer side sometimes. I like the shot where they're following behind him while he's walking on the Walk of Fame and stars. But the time period and like really the costumes are kind of like period appropriate. Totally, like I can tell when it was filmed because this is at the time period in Los Angeles when you had the bursting punk rock scene with bands like the Germs and like that. So he's kind of got that new wave kind of look to it, that leather jacket he wears, everything. He's got some style. The kid's got style. He's crazy. He's crazier than an outhouse rat, but he's got some style. I'll give him that. And he manages to find fully automatic Thompson submachine gun, which is I don't know how he got that, but
that is one high tone son of a bitch, by the way, just so y'all know.
Yeah. They used to call him a Chicago typewriter back in the 30s. The Thompson submachine gun, by the way. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe he found the producer Jelani because he's so obsessed with film. He knew what this guy did. I don't know, but they never show that. Now that's the only thing. It's kind of disjointed in certain parts. I think sometimes they spend too much time on the doctor and the officer. Like they really don't have much to do with moving the movie forward until all of a sudden he discovers why did he put that street name up there over the street sign. But this movie is not supposed to be like even as serious as some slasher films. It's like I like it. The fact that it doesn't take itself seriously. It's homaging all these other movies and stuff, and we get also I haven't heard anybody mention it yet, but they show some great clips from like Creature from the Black Lagoon, White Heat with James Cagney, which I love that movie. Top of the World, Ma, and also The Kiss of Death, which is was actually remade in the '90s with what's his name? What's his name? James Caruso, and then
Oh
the guy
yeah.
Nicolas Cage plays the bad
Crazy
guy.
is
Yeah.
they use clips from Creature from the Black Lagoon. They
David
used some
Crusoe.
mummy clips,
Yeah.
right? And Universal only said they only objected to Dracula with Bela
Yeah.
Lugosi. So
They
they
wouldn't do
removed
the
those. They had to put in the Christopher Lee ones.
And but you know what? I'm cool with the Christopher Lee one because I kind of enjoy the Christopher Lee Hammer Dracula films a lot. I did a big marathon up there in Halloween, but anyway, like, yeah, I like this, and I also like, you know, it's like study this guy, kind of like bounce around his head, you know. We got like a mommy dearest / Sunset Boulevard thing going on in his home life, and so I don't know, I really liked it. I mean, I don't know, it's not my favorite movie, but yeah, I like all the imagery in it. I thought it was really cool. I like the opening scene when they kind of show you, you know, they kind of pan around his room. He's got all these pictures of Cary Grant and these old movie posters, and they do a good job of like kind of making you feel bad for this kid, even though he's batshit crazy, because like of everything he has to deal with at work. His boss is a jerk, and the people he works with don't understand him. Yeah, he's kind of misunderstood.
By the way, when's the last time anybody ever got bullied by somebody who went, "You know, Casablanca is my favorite movie, man. Don't fucking test me." Like,
Yeah, I know.
It's so funny. It's a funny movie.
Rick should have known
Yeah.
that. It should have been the easiest thing in the world for him to be like, "What's his full name?"
And I think that was kind of like, you know, how us as collectors are like that, where they're like, the first appearance of such and such was in blah blah blah. They're like, actually, he made a cat. Like, you know how somebody be like,
you know what?
I got Uncanny.
It's 180.
Yeah, I got Uncanny 266, the first appearance of Gambit. They're like, actually, Uncanny X-Men Annual 14.
Yes.
But like, so he's kind of like that. Like, he's trying to show this guy, oh, this is your favorite movie. I'm going to show you how little you know about your favorite movie and throw it back in your face.
He's so condescending to anybody who doesn't know trivial facts about film.
Yeah,
right. Yeah,
and he calls them
really
stupid.
is. I bet you don't even know. It's just stupid. I bet you don't even know. What about you, Brooks? What do you think about the style and structure of the film?
I like the style of this film. Like, you know, it is very 70s. Like, you know, it feels like a 70s movie to me. Like, what year did this movie come out?
1980.
80s. Yeah, it felt like early 80s.
Yeah, 80.
1980. Okay, yeah.
Like 80.
Yeah, so it still has that 70s kind of.
Look up at the top of the name of the video that you're on right now. It says it right there. It's like Fade to Black 1980. Maybe it doesn't say that for you. It says it for me, but there you go. Sorry.
I see it.
But yeah, I think the big weakness in as far as the structure of this movie goes is kind of like the fact that it has the kind of dual threads. I think the cops are they put a little too much of the cops and like the psychologist guy stuff in there, and they could have focused, I think, more on the killer. But you know, when you talk about like it's March Madness, you know, so the movie's about madness, and like the thing about madness is mainly the descent is the most fascinating part, you know, and that's what, you know, this movie is. It starts out like, you know, you see his life. He has kind of a crappy life, but, you know, he doesn't seem like a particularly bad guy. You know, he's a bit of a smart ass. You know, he's a bit of a space case. But like as you see him, like, you know, just like life just is like grinding him down more and more. And then, like, you know, when he snaps, it's just like, you know, I'm surprised this movie didn't get compared to Joker, like, you know, back when everybody was talking about Joker back in the day.
Yeah.
It very much is kind of like of the same kind of way, like where, like, you know, it's just this guy just getting shat on, and then, like, you know, he finally just snaps. But yeah, I think overall it's pretty good. But, you know, like I said, I think that the intervention of the cop and / psychologist storyline kind of drags it down a little bit.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I do see, like Joe was mentioning, a lot of this movie is meant to be comedic, right? But it's also trying to take itself seriously. So it does kind of have this tonal imbalance a little bit. Joe, I don't know. What do you think about the style and structure?
Yeah, same thing. I like how stylized it is. The style for me works. I have absolutely no notes on that. That with the structure, that is the weak point. I think what you do, like if you were to remake Fade to Black today, you would probably remove that storyline, add one more kill, and simply have it be that the cops are just investigating this string of murders and they get a call that a guy is dragging someone, you know, to the Chinese theater and all that, and just be like, you know, we got him, we got a lead, and that's how the cops get there. And it's, you just do that. I think it's an unnecessary layer. That again, like,
we find him at the thing.
While it is a comedy, and almost all the comedy in this movie works, I think that's the bit works the least. Like, that needed something, and maybe that was the casting. Maybe if they recast that guy, and if the right guy had that role and could have really, like, you know, chewed the scenery and really, like, made it clearer that it was a parody of these kind of, you know, bumbling detective types in these movies. I think, yeah, like that's probably it, because everything else structure wise for me works. Like, part of me would love if the killings start happening like a little sooner, but the other part of me thinks that would then take away from all of this build up. And would it have been as impactful and worked as well if I wasn't sitting there being like, oh, is this when he's going to snap? Oh no, he's another. Oh, maybe he's going to snap now. Like that's kind of part of the flow of the movie, I think. So I kind of don't want to mess with that. But yeah, I think
you're right though. Where if you spend less time on the harmonica, then maybe we have time for another kill, to, like, you know, like another kill, another persona that this guy is taking on, right? Another film reference. And that's something that's really fascinating to me about the story is actually, like, like you can look at it like how much of this is just in his head, because you get the sense that when he's doing these killings, he's just replaying the scene from Hop Along Casty. Why does he drink the blood? Is it because he's bloodthirsty? No, he never does that again. It's because he's dressed as Dracula. He's Dracula in that moment, right? And I think that's the bit, that accidental kill after the kill of his mother / aunt, right? That's the big thing that kind of unhinges him a little bit. But the accidental kill of the sex worker when he's dressed as Dracula, drinks her blood, that is what truly, I think, breaks reality from fiction to him.
It's crazy.
Right? Completely breaks. Well put from everybody. Let's talk about the music real quick. It's done by Craig Safan, right? We will mostly know him for this movie. Also, Major Payne, Stand and Deliver, and The Last Starfighter, y'all. The Last Starfighter has some great music. I think this movie has some great music too. I think you can listen to it on its own. I did so today. It's available on Spotify. I would recommend anybody check it out. It's got this discordant, moody, and ethereal, yet still atmospheric quality. But it also dives into that like late 70s, early 80s funky kind of bit at time. Tries to get a little bit too rocky at times. That's when it leads itself into like cheesy territory. So it's slightly cheesy, but it's a little funky. And overall, I think very moody and atmospheric and perfectly attuned for the themes and the vibe of this film. What about you, Jelani? What do you think about the music?
Cheesy, funky. Like that. Yeah, I agree. I really like the music in this movie. I was surprised because I paid a lot of attention to it this time just because it was actually prevalent in the film. so you had no choice but to hear the music. I like that it was upbeat for what was happening. I like the chase music when he was chasing the girl. That do 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 do. It was pretty decent. I was like, wow, he put some thought into this. I'm assuming it wasn't just generic music that he was just pumping out. At first, I thought it was going to be because, like I said, at the beginning of this movie, I was hating it. I don't know what it was. Like the first section of this movie, I was like, what the fuck is this? I can't stand this music. I can't stand. I don't know what it is, and it's probably the way the scenes were shot, along with the music at the beginning, where I was just like, "Fuck this." I was discounting this movie, but like I said, as it progresses, it gets better, and even the music towards the end of the movie, it's a lot more epic. It gets this grandiose scale to it too, and I really enjoyed it. Yeah. I'm shocked, like coming from this movie, which I said I wasn't thinking much of at the beginning of it. Towards the end, I'm like, yeah, okay, I got you, dog. I feel you.
There's the song in the song in the closing credits. It's called Heroes, right? And it's the one where it's like you got that like descending piano bit, but it's like heroes, bum, 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 right? That is on the menu of this fucking Blu-ray, and dude, every time I put this thing in to listen to the commentary or watch the movie or watch a special feature, I had to hear that fucking song on the menu over and over, and I got tired of it. But then when I watched the movie and I allowed it to play as the credits were rolling and I had the subtitles on, I was like, holy shit, these lyrics are so hauntingly appropriate for this film, right? And so even that bit, like I hated that song. I hated that song for 2 weeks, Jelani. And then all of a sudden it just hit me. I really liked it. What about you, Matt? What did you think about the music in the film?
Honestly, it didn't stand out too much, but it didn't take away from it. But it was good. Like when they used it, the way they used it was effective, and it was passable. That song is kind of annoying though. If you listen to it over and over, it would be. I can imagine if it probably. I'm sure the DVD was like one section, right? It only played like one part of it. Probably kept looping it, but I thought it was all right. I thought the music was fine. I mean, a lot of times the music can take you out of a movie. So I think the biggest compliment you can give sometimes is the music did its job and it didn't take you out of the film. It wasn't like okay, I'll give you like I always liked the first X-Men movie, right? But you know how they had that like kind of weird, like slow, like weird techno music playing like in the battle scene on the Statue of Liberty? That music took me out of that scene. Like I couldn't get into that battle because of the music. So it can affect, it can hurt a movie and it can help the movie. And I think the music complemented this movie. That's all I'm going to say about it.
I get what you're saying there. I will say that I think that John Ottman's score for the original X-Men film, directed by Bryan Singer, is actually a brilliant score. And one of the most subdued superhero movie scores we've ever had. That music is really good, dude. It's mysterious. It's like, but I know what you're talking about because they're using like that music that's like, you wouldn't steal a car, would you? I guess. Do you remember The Matrix? That's what they're doing. That's what they're doing.
I was hoping more for like the Newton brothers, from the show. Yeah.
What about you, Brooks? What do you think about the music in this film, Fade to Black?
I liked it for the most part. It did remind me of like songs from like those old 70s like cop procedural type shows. Like it has that kind of like
that's what it is.
A kind of feel to it, like that very 70s feel, which I like. I think they did it good. Like I think it fit with this movie. It didn't like take you out of the movie. Like I wasn't watching the scene like, oh man, it's too funky. I can't pay attention, man. I gotta dance because it fit with the scene. Just enough funkiness.
Yeah, there's some funk in there and some good bass lines. It's the guitar work that's not my favorite if you listen to the score, but most of the score is like this like discordant descending piano. This like blum 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 blum, and then that final song, that theme is repeated a couple of times, and the idea of like the lost heroes on screen, what that means, like, and all that music is done by the same cat, right? He even did those music bits where they're like vocals and shit. So anyway, Joe, what did you think about the music in the film?
No, I mean, it's great. I feel like, did we also mention that? I'm pretty sure this is the same guy who did the music for Major Payne.
Yeah, Major Payne.
Yeah.
Reno Williams, if you want to go there. But yeah, Major
Wow.
Payne. When's the, you know, I tell you what, Joe, I do not remember the music in Major Payne, but now I'm curious.
Yeah, but it does a good job with the immersion. Like the music, the score itself does just enough to change the music up for the different kills that make them stand out just a little more. You know, I mean, there is obviously they're not using the same exact music from a lot of these things, like in the Psycho scene, but it's a difficult thing to make something sound enough like it to not feel cheap, and I think they do that in this movie.
Heck yeah. Somebody also, you just mentioned the Psycho scene, right?
Yeah.
And somebody in the chat mentioned they liked, I think it was Fable or somebody mentioned they liked that Psycho homage in the movie. And I do too, right? He was like, I was just asking for your autograph in the ink instead of the blood. I don't know. I really like that bit for some reason. Plus, out of nowhere, Maryland's like, what? What do you want? What do you want, Hollywood? And I always love it when an actor shows everything. So there you go, right? More actors should do that.
So
That's what we're paying for, y'all. Come on, y'all. We know what's going on. All right, let's talk about the themes in this movie. We are the PCP Army. We are the pop culture philosophers. We like to dive a little bit deeper. Jelani, what is Fade to Black speaking to you after a first time watch?
Don't let your love overtake you. This guy loves cinema to the point where it took his life over. It became his persona, his entire being, to the point where when people didn't agree with his worldview and his inside of his bubble, he decided that it was necessary for him to take them out. Like it had to be, and it was a necessity. The man, the producer that steals his idea is a big one. Like he just gives him an idea in passing, and this guy just runs with it and goes on a TV show and just steals his idea. And I'm like, that wasn't enough of a premise for you to like steal everything. I would have like at least took the kid in and mentored him. See, this could have been something that happened at the beginning of the movie. And he mentored him somehow. And then the betrayal would have been even more because he stole all of his idea, like scripts, things like that.
He could have farmed this kid for ideas, yeah.
Farmed him for ideas. And he instead just takes it away from him. But because this kid's persona, his entire life is being a cinephile, like it consumed him to the point where he had to project it to others. So he had to be Dracula. He had to be the Mummy. He had to do these things to get out his inner geek monster, like I said before. And I believe that you should be passionate, but you shouldn't let your love overtake you and make you turn into something of a monster. You shouldn't have that happen to you.
Yeah.
And once again, fuck the police.
I like that. Matt, what about you? What's this movie speaking to you?
Well, I think he was already, this guy also got themes of mental illness. I think he already probably had some kind of mental illness. But like the thing about, like Jelani's saying about the things you're interested in, like your hobbies, like collecting comic books, maybe you play video games, movie cinephile. I love movies, I love toys, and I love comic books. And I've taken it too far before. Like I spent too much money. I've seen people that go into debt for their comic book hobby, and I've seen people lose jobs over playing video games too much. I had a friend that played World of Warcraft so much that he'd stay up all night and he couldn't get to work the next day, and he lost his job because.
Jeez.
So your obsession it's okay to have a healthy obsession, but I think it's also trying to tell you, like, look, you can love something too much. And there's a lot of Star Wars fans. I feel like telling that too. Like, I think you love this because we had a lot of people like, and say what you want about The Force Awakens and all those movies. I'm not going to get into my criticisms or whether I like them or not, but I know that there were people that were very hyperbolic, saying they ruined my childhood. Come on, they didn't ruin your childhood. It's just a movie at the end of the day, and we have no control over who made it. And the same thing with this guy, he just let that take over his life. We see that in a lot of movies. That's a good theme. We already mentioned a bunch of movies, Taxi Driver, King of Comedy, where people are obsessed fans. They just take everything way too far. And it's still something today. I think it's almost worse now. Like, this might have been like a niche back then or somebody like that. But now I think there's like more people like this, that not even just like movies, but obsessed with celebrity. I want to be like this person. And when he can't be that and his world crashes down, and like Johnny said, we think he's going to have that big break. Oh, this guy's going to help him now because he gave this guy, he's going to be this guy's idea, man. And he gets taken away. And like, if you're obsessed with something like that too much, and then something's taken away from you, it's something you dreamed about, you might snap.
Okay. All right, Matt, I agree with, I dig most of what you're saying, except that I'm not going to let you slide on this, but there was a brief moment there where you decided to take the theme of this movie to wrap a protective bubble of criticism around the Star Wars sequel trilogy. And I'm not going to let that slide because those movies fucking suck. Okay, those movies fucking suck. Okay, those movies suck, and I'm okay for thinking that. Okay,
the point I'm trying to make is did that ruin your entire
for no reason?
Did it ruin your entire childhood because the movie sucked though?
No, it didn't, Matt. But
there you go.
You're on a slippery slope right now. Okay, let's just. Most of what you said is pretty solid. So there you go. Brooks, what do you think about the?
Well, actually,
Brooks, what do you think about this film, and what do you think about the themes? What do you think about the themes of this?
It's just funny, like, movies like this, like, you can watch them and you can be like, man, like, this movie is it seems prophetic almost, like in the way how it portrays, like, this guy who's going through a problem that, like, a lot of people these days are going through. Like, I remember seeing something like a few years back about something called the male loneliness epidemic. It was like this idea that, like, of these guys who just can't connect with, each other, or they can't connect, with women, or like, people outside of, like, their, like, communities
themselves.
Or whatever. Yeah, and like, they're just like, it causes them to just act even more gross and like off-putting and make people like,
yeah, and they start talking shit about Star Wars movies, right, Matt? Is that what you're saying? Is that what you're trying to say? Anyway,
I'm not saying anything.
No, I'm not saying that you can't criticize the movie. I'm just saying
this is like, it's like idea. These guys have always been around. Like, he's not predicting something that's happening today. Like, guys like this were around even back then. This is not a new thing.
No. The difference is this: guys like that didn't exist in 1980 because this dude enjoyed the films he was given. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, like, he would actually probably be all right these days because
they were still making good movies in 1980. All right, that's the difference.
Not the shit trash sequel trilogy.
Imagine they remake Fade to Black, and it's a fucking Star Wars fan who hates goddamn Last Jedi so goddamn much.
All to do his murders and shit, and then Darth Vader.
Yep.
And then someone just has to go like, my guy, what's wrong? Like, and all that stuff.
You're about to die.
There you go.
Well said, everybody. Well said, everybody. I was just having a conversation today about the Star Wars movies and the trilogies. Like, that's why it's on my head, man. That's why, Matt, I'm just fucking with you.
No.
Joe,
I am too. Look at my avatar.
Their ass.
Oh, get the fuck out of here, man.
Jesus.
I was telling it. This was the discussion at work today. I straight up was like, you know what? I don't give a fuck what anybody says. Best thing that Lucasfilm could do is say 7, 8, 9 never fucking happened. We're moving forward.
Yep.
I was like, everybody would fucking rejoice. like even people that like those movies would fucking rejoice. Cause then maybe we could just be done with this shit. Joe, what's this movie speaking to you, my man?
It's I mean, it's saying a lot of stuff that's already been mentioned, but one thing I want to highlight on top of that, it's doing this very subtle thing that, and I know some of the criticisms of the movie are like how predictable it is, but like you have to be such a fucking idiot to not get that this movie is like being over the top, like right in the beginning when his boss is like, "Oh, my heart, I better take my pills." I mean, this movie knows exactly what it's doing. The ant straight up says, if you don't get your act together, you'll die before you're 30. Like, it's going out, the movie's going out of its way to be like, dude, he fucking dies at the end. Watch the movie.
It's so
That's
obnoxiously clever. It's not even that clever to some people because they just miss it, right?
Yeah, no, absolutely. But like, one of the things that I don't really see discussed about it is, so his aunt/mom was an actress who, and she says it, and he knows that. He is explicitly uninterested in her career, her movies, because she never made it. She's not a star. He is not into film. He is into Hollywood. He is into stars. That this movie is making a very clear delineation between he's not a cinephile, he is enamored by Hollywood, and they hammer it home having him die in that shootout and falling off the Chinese theater. And the whole bit where he is at the theater and they have the spotlights coming up and it's to hunt him down, but for him, and they don't spell it out for you, he's finally made it. He's at the Chinese theater with the spotlights shining. Yep. He and his story and what he has done is the premiere. And there's a big crowd that gathers. It's not just cops. Like, all these people gather. It is this like layered commentary on what people are willing to do for that Chinese theater premiere in LA. And no one fucking talks about that. And it blows my mind.
Well, someone did, Joe, and that was you.
Yeah.
Joe fucking talking about it, Corallo. Let's make a sandwich and name it after you. Let's do that. The Joe Corallo Fade to Black sandwich, man. Black truffle oil. Sounds good. This movie's got a lot of themes, a lot of things to unpack. A lot of y'all, you've already talked about all of it. This is what I'll add. So when I first talked about this movie online over at Dylan's Horror Show, I was like, yeah, we could talk about how like the movies and the obsession with movies and things like this. But what I wanted to really stress that night was there are lonely people out there. There are isolated people out there, right? And we've all been there. We've all felt isolated. We've all felt lonely. Hopefully for not too long of a season, right? Because that can really fuck up somebody, right? Feeling like you're alone and isolated. Nobody's there. Nobody understands you. And it can be easy to then not just put an obsession onto something like film or comics or manga or fucking making puzzles. Building puzzles. I'm sure there's somebody up there so fucking obsessed with making puzzles, it like fucks up the rest of their life, right? But whatever your obsession will be, whether it's cinema, whether it's reading, whether it's drinking, whether it's sex, whatever it is, so many of us try to fill this hole of isolation and loneliness with obsession. And it only compounds the effects of said isolation and loneliness. So my main point back then was we've all been there. So let's be kind to one another, especially those that we might think maybe they're a little bit too. I work at a comic shop. I've worked in this industry for over 20 years. There's a lot of people that some people might, this is not a normal type person comes into this place, right? That you have to interact with. Be kind to them, right? That kindness for Benford would have gone a long way in this movie. Whether it was from his coworkers, whether it was from anybody. The sad thing is he did have an act of kindness shown to him by Marilyn, but through an actual mislapse of like, she's young, beautiful. She's got a lot of people wanting to bring her out, do this. She forgot about a certain date, but like we see that perspective. That being said, be kind. But the other thing is this. I mentioned at the beginning of the show, this is a little bit of a warning for cinephiles. Movies, and it's a warning for cinephiles, and it's a warning for people like us. And it ties back into the original idea of why we started talking about movies here on a channel called Pop Culture Philosophers. Movies should reflect your life and help you understand your life and even potentially better your life. They shouldn't be the identity of your life, right? There's a difference between somebody like us who can watch a movie like Fade to Black. And this is something that I think I dealt with a lot of people in my life. Movies like this, movies that we're going to be talking about for the next couple of weeks. I can't get on board with a movie that's trying to make me feel for a serial killer. I reviewed The Bride this weekend, and one of the comments was, I can't stand a movie that tries to justify killing. I can't be on the side of the killer. Get the fuck out of here. You like The Matrix? Do you realize they're killing a bunch of innocent people? Right? When they're just shooting people in the fucking Matrix? Right? Like, what? You like Westerns with Clint Eastwood? How many innocents die? Like, and I'm not trying to dive too deep into this. But to me, I always like to talk about Wes Craven when he said, the reason why I make films in the way that I make them and about what I make them is because there is a monster inside of all of us. And if we don't acknowledge and explore that, it's going to seep out and take over. That's why he made movies like Last House on the Left. It's why he made Nightmare on Elm Street. It's why he made People Under the Stairs. It's why he made Music of the Heart. But anyway, so like all of these things, like there is something dark inside of all of us. And a lot of us like to hold it in. It's explorations in films like Fade to Black that allow me as a cinephile, as a lover of the genre of horror films, to watch this movie, dive into this movie, love this movie, even relate to the main character of this movie, and come out of it not expecting my life to be the reality of this movie, but to expect that the effect of this movie on my life is going to be of my own choosing. Maybe I've had too many hits on the pen tonight, but that's where I'm sitting tonight with the theme of the movie. Time to rate the film out of 5 possible you digs. You out there in the chat, what would you rate Fade to Black? Jelani, first time watch, where are you sitting?
Like I said, I'm mixed on this one. I like it, but then like there are too many leaps. There are too many leaps. For me, and I might just have to watch it again. I'm gonna give it a 2.5. It's not quite there for me. It doesn't have the rewatchability factor for me, but I still need to watch it again just to be sure that I like it. It's okay. It's just I'm missing something, and I wanna see where it is. And I hate when they say horror comedy in things. I really do. Like Return of the Living Dead makes me mad. I don't know why. It's just a horror comedy.
This is not a comedy that way. This is way more of like a black comedy, right? Like a dark comedy. If it's got dark comedic elements, but it's not a comedy. I wouldn't say this is a horror.
That's what
it's
I'm
not it's not Once Bitten. You know what I'm saying? It's not something like that.
It's not a parody of what we're seeing. It's just they want to put funny elements in it, and the funny elements don't really hit to me. So I give it a 2.5 for now. I will probably need to watch it again.
I like that 2.5. You know, Joe, you mentioned this is kind of a meta film, like it's a film about the knowledge of horror films, and this even predates Fright Night, which is another one that predates Scream, right? It predates Fright Night. It really does. What is the first horror film that is self-aware of horror films? I wonder. What is the one? Does anybody know? Like definitively?
You're not there?
Nobody does. All right. That's a homework assignment for the panel and for the chat. So we're going to figure it out. I'm very curious to know what that would be. 2.5. I appreciate that. That's fair. By the way, Jelani, the commentary that I watched, you know what movie they kept comparing this one to?
What?
The Funhouse.
Gee, I wonder why.
I thought was really, really funny. Matt, what about you? Out of 5 you digs, what would you rate this film?
Well, I could see how this movie is really influential on probably some other filmmakers in the genre, and maybe even beyond that. I don't know. We'd have to look into that. I'd have to call Marty on the phone and see if he's watched this movie, but I don't know him that well, so whatever. I was gonna give it a 3, but since it's got a lot of stuff I like in movies, he does a lot of quotes in movies, and it's some great characters. I'm gonna give it a 3.5. And that's the reason it's not going to get a 4 or 4.5 is just because I think that the interaction with the police and the doctor is a little much. They didn't do a good job of like including them into it. Maybe if they had included them more into it, like they don't really show them like they're constantly on his trail, like just a step away from him. If they could have put more of that in the movie, then maybe that would have been less disjointed. But I'll give it a 3.5.
I think 3.5 is very fair for this film. What about you, Brooks?
Well, I'm like I said, I had problems with this movie, particularly with pacing a bit, but I respect what it's trying to say. I think it's like a fascinating kind of look back into this, idea of these kind of guys who are feel so alienated and are just kind of like driven into this descent into madness. So I think it's above average for me. I give it a 3.5 as well. So it's it's one of those movies that I don't know how I'd feel about it on a second watch, but I imagine I'd probably like it at least a little bit better. But it's not one like that I'd probably want to watch on the regular, I guess you'd say.
So this commentary I keep talking about is from, who's it from? Amanda Reyes and Bill Ackerman. They're film historians. I will be proud to announce to them that we have not had a funhouse situation tonight. I have already assumed that. So 3.5, that's really great. I appreciate that. Maybe Jelani, you should rewatch this film and Funhouse as a double feature. I would recommend Funhouse first. So there you go.
I will never watch Funhouse.
I would actually be up for a remake of this film. Maybe they could correct some of the problems.
No.
If
No,
they remade this
go
fucking
fuck it up.
film, like he'd be
No.
dressing as Iron Man and fucking dipshit from
Yeah.
Dune and fucking it'd be
It'll be
like,
awful.
like
It'll be awful.
it'd be like
No,
scary
fuck that.
movie.
It'll be a scary
It'd be
movie.
like whatever
It'll be
has been
scary
popular
movie.
the last 5 years. It'd be like
Slender
fucking
Man.
Project Hail Mary or some shit.
Well, no, if they did it right though, they could do some '80s references. Maybe some Taxi Driver reference to it. It'd be kind of. But they would do what you said they were going to do. That's what they would do, though. You're right.
Yeah. The best thing to do actually is just fucking force more people to watch it, man. Like just this movie in its original form, I think. Joe, what about you? We got some interesting ratings so far. Where are you sitting?
Yeah. Here's the thing for me, like this movie's so close to like being a 4. I could almost give it I'm gonna go 3.69 because a 3.5 feels too low for me, but I'm like, it just feels like just shy of like a 4, and it's because of some of those like pacing and tone issues, but like it's so I mean, it's so good and fun, and I've seen it before and it was just as fun the last time I watched it. There's a lot of those moments really pop. I mean, how many movies do the overwhelming majority of movies, most people you're really watching ultimately for what, like 3 or 4 scenes are like the real standout knockout scenes, especially in like a genre like horror, right? All of the kills in this are fun. There isn't like a stupid kill in that way where it's just like a waste. Like they're all fun kills.
Yeah, and
That doesn't happen a lot.
Even if the kills aren't like extravagant in and of themselves, you're anticipating how he's dressed up, how he's integrating that into stalking the victim or whatever, right?
Yeah. So like overall, like, these are all probably fairly below average kills in the grand scheme of like the kills of the great horror movies, but they're more immersive than most of them. So.
Yeah, definitely more immersive than the kills in Scream 7.
No.
If anybody's not seen Scream 7, might be the worst of the franchise. Can't wait to have that conversation one day. One day we're just going to do shows where we're going to be like, what's the worst Friday the 13th movie? We're all going to come together and decide. just like
it's not 5. 5's pretty good.
5's really fucking good. We just covered that for Friday the 13th in February. Friday we're doing Jason Lives because there's another Friday the 13th, and I'm very excited. By the way, on the New Beginning podcast over at Blood Splatter Chatter, I won trivia again. So I haven't gotten it yet, but I'll be getting my second custom-made Friday the 13th Part 5 mask from Verno. There's the first one I got from him. So
I think Part 6 and 7 are the. I think Part 6 and 7
I think the worst one is Jason Goes to Hell.
Oh yeah, that worm. Bullshit.
Yeah, that's pretty fucking easy, right? Right?
Yeah.
The worst Nightmare on Elm Street movie is probably the remake. If not the remake, it's The Dream Child.
Yeah.
Right? That's easy. Hellraiser gets tricky.
Oh, Part 2 is pretty bad.
Yeah.
Revelation, dude. Revelation is like the worst.
Revelation is the worst one.
There's a few choices. I don't know if any of the really bad ones are easily.
None of them are worse than Revelation.
I feel like we should do a bonus episode of Horror Fest this year just to talk about the worst of these big franchises. We'll pick like 10 franchises and we'll each come in with our worst.
That movie makes House Party look like House Party Part 2.
Yeah, no shit. Well, House Party, yeah, no shit. House Party 2 is actually pretty dope in my opinion. All right. We got some good ratings so far. Me personally, I'm giving it a 4. I gave it a 4 when I did it on Dylan's horror show. I have an affection for this movie. I really love this movie. And I don't like it when people tell me like a movie like this is not something worth discussing. And I know a lot of people mentioned the Joker film. And what's crazy is that initially the first March Madness film that I was going to launch with was the Joker, like that Joker film by Todd Phillips, right? I was going to do that
That's
because I
not
felt like that fit in, right? But then I had just gotten in my Blu-ray copy of The Dark Half, and that's why I put The Dark Half in instead. But I think the Joker would have fit in very thematically because it like talk about the Joker, like we're talking about character studies of serial killers, right? That try to not these movies are not painting these characters as angels, but they're showing them in a sympathetic manner, right? Fade to Black, Martin, Henry, and Psycho, the entire franchise of Psycho. That's what they're doing, making us feel bad for Norman Bates, but not to that point. Anyway, I'm going to go with a 4. I think that stands firm for me. I love this film. I don't like it when people tell me that films like this don't matter or that they're so like, I don't know, nasty that we shouldn't like who would ever like he's some fucking poor fucking dude who like wants to kill people, like whatever. Like, I don't know. There's something to dive into these films. And that's what March Madness is about, because cinema loves to explore madness. And that's what we're doing in March Madness. So a 4 from me, 3.69 from Joe, 2.5 from Jelani, 3.5 from Matt and Brooks, right? That is a PCP average of 3.69, dudes. Joe, you were right the whole time. There you go.
Excellent. We love it.
Hell yeah. All right, next week, March Madness continues here over at PCP Movie Night with Martin, which I've already talked about, but it's a George R.R. Martin, I almost said. George A. Romero film. We've already talked about one, Dark Half. Now we're talking about Martin. That's going to be next Monday. But before that, we got Serpent and the Rainbow over at Heroes for Hire. Falling Down over at One Collection Down on Friday night. So thank you all so much for being here. Jelani, final thoughts, what you got coming up?
Yeah, man. Great discussion. I'm glad it wasn't a funhouse situation because this movie didn't suck to me. It's just I may have to watch it again. I don't know. It's just little parts of it just didn't get to me, but I'm glad I discussed it with you fellers. Always a good time. And of course, Brooks and I do this little show called Go Figure Reviews. We technically didn't do a video this week, but we had some come out recently, and one was the Akuma from we'll do Garfello. Garfello, this was a 2-pack with Garfield and Odie as Ninja Turtles. They're, ninjas eating pizza and doing some cool stuff. Check out that video. It's doing pretty well. So, it does a thing. And then, of course, we did the Jada Toys Akuma figure that just came out. We're super excited about those. And, we do house tours. We do, eventually we'll do some live streams. I just got to get together and on my schedule for work and get that down pat. But soon that will happen this year. So guys, check us out. Do the things that you do, like, share, and subscribe, and always get out there and go figure.
Hell yeah, Matt, we appreciate you being here. Why don't you tell us what you got coming up?
As always, it's a pleasure to be with you fine gentlemen. Get to talk about movies. It's always fun. Tomorrow night, Comic Conversations is at 7 p.m. Eastern time, and I'm interviewing a guy named Patrick Hardy's. Is a Instagram page called The Missing Collection, and it's kind of a more of an interesting. No, that's the wrong one. There you go. It's an interesting thing because I usually talk to comic collectors or toy collectors. This guy collects screen shown or worn movie props from movies, and his basement looks like a freaking Planet Hollywood. He's got He's got some of the prosthetics that Ron Perlman wore as Hellboy. He's got some of the prop guns from John Wick. He's got one of the mech suits from Elysium with Matt Damon. And he's got props from the sequel to The Thing and all the way up to Blade Runner 2049. So it should be a fun conversation. So drop by. And then Wednesday at 9 p.m. Eastern, we're back for we already talked about that one, so you can skip it if you want to. But we're reviewing Serpent and the Rainbow with Bill Pullman, directed by Wes Craven. And then on Thursday, that's at 9 p.m. Eastern. And Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern, my hangout show. It's called The Comic Lounge. And the first part of the show, like the first hour, we've been doing a thing called Comic Classified. So like, if say you're looking for an ASM 315 or ASM 316, and you're looking to trade with somebody or maybe buy one, and maybe they have an extra copy, you can post it in our group chat called the Comic Classifieds, and we'll see what we can do. I've already worked out a trade, and I got Invaders Annual #1 in a trade with Barbarian Kung Fu, a friend of mine. And the rest of the show, we just hang out and talk about pop culture, movies, the latest toys, the latest gossip. The only thing that's off limits on that show is politics and religion. Please, no, we don't have that on the show.
Wow.
And then Sunday we have I forgot. This is the G.I. Joe thing. This drops tomorrow at 5 or 6 p.m. No, 6 p.m. Eastern. These are pre-recorded videos, but it's going to be a premiere. We're going to go over G.I. Joe issue 13, Last Plane from Rio Lindo, and we'll see if they can get out of this this place called Rio Lindo. They're in Central America. It's a fake place, but it's made up. But we don't know. We left on a cliffhanger. Is Snake Eyes dead or alive? Tune in tomorrow at 6 p.m. Wednesday at 6 p.m. and find out. Of course, spoiler alert, Snake Eyes is still around. And then Sunday, the Sunday Super Show Extravaganza, new Comic Book Day preview show. We're going to talk about the new issues. We got 2 cool #1s coming out this week. New Batwoman series and a new Lobo series written by Scotty Young. So we'll do a deep dive on that. And as always, it's a pleasure.
Hell yeah. Thank you for being here. Everybody go check out Heroes for Hire Comic Club. Throw a link in the chat if anybody is here. Yeah, we got Jay and Fable. Throw out a link out to Heroes for Hire, please. What about you, Brooks? Final thoughts. Thank you for being here.
Man, and like I said on Fable's show, I love March Madness. March Madness, for me, some of my favorite movies have come out of March Madness. It's just a time of year I really kind of look forward to. It's kind of an exploration. It feels like we're explorers of the mind in a way. So yeah, I'll always have fun, and I was glad I'm glad got another movie I've never seen to check off the list. So yeah, thank you for giving me this opportunity. I guess I'm saying.
Explorers in the further regions of
Angels
experience.
to some, demons to others.
Hellraiser would totally fit for March Madness, man.
Yeah.
We've already done the first movie and the entire franchise. Next time, I guess we got to dive deep into the second one, Hellbound, right? Yeah. That'd be fun. That'd be super fun. What about you, Joe? What you got coming up, man? You got something big to announce, I know, right? Ready?
I really want to already. No, but one thing that is out for pre-order. So if you never got my King Arthur and the Knights of Justice graphic novels, they are doing a combined release in one fat trade of both novels and both of Jordi Belair's Princess Guinevere and the Jewel Rider books with a new 24-page story that we both co-wrote.
Brother, why'd you not tell me this before I bought those 2 fucking graphic novels to support you, man? Why'd you not tell me?
We really needed those sales. It was, but this was something that I wasn't sure was going to happen, and then they were like, "Well, here." So yeah.
No, that's awesome, dude. That's super cool.
Thank you. Yeah. So looking forward to having something like that, and you can catch me at C2E2 later this month, and next month I will be tabling at the Brooklyn Indie Comics Showcase, Bix in Industry City. And thank you.
Heck yeah, Joe. Everybody go check out that book. We'll let you know more about it. All right, March Madness, y'all, continues on Wednesday night. Heroes for Hire, Serpent and the Rainbow, great film. Falling Down on Friday the 13th. Right before that, I'll be over at Blood Splatter Chatter to talk about Friday the 13th, Part 6, Jason Lives. Also some trivia that night, so check it out. Next week, Martin here on PCP Movie Night. Then the following Wednesday, Devil's Rejects. On that following Friday, Misery, Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer, The Substance, California, And we wrap it all up with the Psycho franchise. March Madness, we're just getting started, celebrating the insanity of cinema all month long across 3 channels. All right, we're dipping out. Thank you all so much for being here. Station, pop, pop, boom. I don't have a quote from this movie.